So it's my first day post ketamine session, and I put the ketamine under my tongue, but then I didn't get the trip. I thought I was supposed to have, the last time I did, I swallowed and I got the after trip. And I was like, oh, you're not, I've read the instructions. I found that you're not supposed to swallow it. So then I was like, this time I'm not going to swallow it. I'm going to spit it out. So I put it in my tongue, I absorbed it, and then spit the rest out. But I didn't get a trip. I was like still functionable, and I was like, okay, so I'm missing something. So I took the spit out of the cup and drunk it back down, and then went through the trip, which I didn't learn really anything new about my body, but I did accept like my chaos, and like I felt some of the emotions I had at home, like my randomness, my silliness, and I saw some like symbolisms, but really I was just accepting the way I am, and that was good. Afterwards, I did find out that so ketamine that you absorb under your tongue, it gives you like that feel, like that mood boost. And the second, like when you swallow it, it gives like you go through that psychedelic trip. You don't really need to do that. If you want to go to the trip, you can, but like I'm not really learning new stuff about myself, so I'm not going to do that anymore. So I have one more dose next Friday, and then I'm going to get pushed up to 400, and then I want to go up to 1,000, but I want to see it 400 first and see how like my system reacts to it. Both of my brothers are thinking about doing it, so that's good. But yeah, so I did it today. I was trying to be present, but I'm pretty much dissociated today. The first day I'm so dissociated, and the second 2 days I'm like really present and like in my body. So, but I'm not gonna go on social media and scroll today. I do crave it, but I'm not gonna do it. Also, I was gonna go to work tomorrow, but after going to Walmart and Dollar Tree and literally having a panic attack going to Walmart, I didn't know where to look. So like if I look up, they're gonna look at my face, even though they're already gonna look at my face. But then that got me scared, so I just looked at the ground and kept on walking. And then I was like, what do I do with my face? Like, what am I like? I felt so awkward and out of place in like Walmart and Dollar Tree. So I was like, yeah, I better not go to work, just because I do work with all Black people. So, not saying that like that's a bad thing, but if I do something because of my mental health and they don't understand it, then they're gonna, it's gonna start more drama, and I don't want that. So I'm not gonna go tomorrow. But then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm gonna work like a lot of hours. I'm gonna be short on rent this month, but I'm literally not worried about it. I'm gonna just ask my sister I've been paying her back. She paid my rent a couple months back. I'm just gonna ask her for the money I gave her, ask her for it back. Because starting in November, I'm gonna work 60 hours a week. Because I want to keep doing ketamine. Also, I'm driving without car insurance. And then also, or something else, I have tickets I have to pay. So I do need to start working. It's just my body's so tired. Like I'm like my mom. She had 5 kids to feed, and she used to work. She was like working manual labor jobs. Like she was like raking fields, and she would get paid under the counter. And she was just so tired, and she'd come home, she'd feed us, and then just lay down and do it again. And she was like, towards the end, she quit working, and she had 5 of us to feed, and like we just weren't getting fed. And like I understand like what she's going through, because right now I literally just don't care. Like I have a good job now, and I mean obviously everyone there hates me. They think I'm like so mean. They don't know my personality, because like when I went there I was going through my breakdown, so I like my face was like just like tense, like from Twilight, the Edward kid. Like my face was like that the whole time. And like I was going through so much dissociation and like breakdowns every day. I'd be in the classroom and I'd have a social anxiety attack. So in the classroom, I wouldn't be able to look at people because I'd feel scared in my stomach. And also, like, I would go in fight or flight over smiling. Like, my brain would be like, this is not safe to smile. Like, I don't know. So I would just keep my face like this. And I was like super tense. And then, like, I'd stay inside. Um, and then during break, I'd go to my car and like have a breakdown and cry because I was like literally scared. And like, no one knows that. And like, I had such a mean like RBF face, and like I wouldn't talk to anyone. I ignored everyone. I didn't make any eye contact. And then with the teachers, like I was so scared to make an eye contact because I knew I had a mean face. And like I knew if I look at them, they're gonna think I'm glaring at them, and then that's gonna start drama. So then I just, the whole time, I didn't look at the teachers. I looked down, but then the teachers were like, I'm ignoring them and I'm disrespectful because I'm not making eye contact. And then it was for like the 2 weeks was like a whole big thing. Like it was just crazy. I don't know how I survived it. Well, I needed money, but I finished the 2 weeks, and then I finally got on the floor. And then like I went through and I had a panic attack, and this girl was talking to me, and I'm going to panic attack. And so when I do that, like my nervous system, my face like drops, like everything shuts down. So I look up at her, listening, but she thinks I'm looking up at her, like mean mugging her. So then she gets mad at me, tells everyone I'm rude. And, she's been there the longest and everyone loves her there. Like she's a really friendly person. So she tells everyone I'm rude. Now everyone hates me. And literally, I was like suicidal a couple weeks ago just because the energy in there was so toxic. Like I heard some people like talking about like beating me up, and I was just like, oh, I don't want to get beat up. Like the biggest thing is like embarrassment. I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want them to rip my wig off and like then me have to stand up and everyone watch, and then I just walk out with like my braids, and like that's embarrassing. And that's like my biggest fear. Like I don't mind fights, but it's like that's like a big fear. And then like now like I'm rewiring my brain, but I'm also still like my face sends me into like fight or flight just because I have a really mean face. And my whole life I didn't know I had a mean face until now. So now I know what my face is. So I know when I look at people, just by looking at them, they're like, this girl is rude, this girl fights, this girl stabs people. That's what they get from me. And then it's like, now that I know that's what they see, I get scared to look at them. So I try to like look down or not make eye contact. It's a lot. But I went through like a whole social anxiety about that because when I was serving, and I like at the very, very end, and I was starting to realize how people see my face because I have depersonalization. So I don't know what I look like. I can see myself and I register because I'm talking and my hands are moving, and like obviously I'm the only one here. But if I like not looking at myself, I can't picture myself. So I don't know what I look like. And like whenever I look back at memories and stuff like that, I can't, my face is just a blah. And so, but I can see other people's expressions. And so I started realizing that, oh my gosh, I have a mean face. And I look like at the other job, a guy told me that I look like I stab people. And I was just like, I was like laughing, like, that's so funny. Like, he's just being funny. And then like I'm starting, like once I realized what my face was, like I still don't know what it looks like, but I know now that I have a bad face. Like my resting face is pissed off. And so yeah, once I realize, and I'm starting to connect the dots of what other people are telling me, like at different occasions. People are told me like here and there in the past, but I never like understood because like I didn't at that time. I was still in like shutdown mode, so I didn't like it didn't register. But like now, as I'm like coming into presence, like it registered to me like I look like a serial killer. I have this RBF that looks pissed off. No one wants to make eye contact with me. Like I look like this, like the kid with like, the backpack, like gun in the backpack. I look like that, and it freaked me out. So I went through a whole like months of like not like being scared to be around people. Don't want them to look at my face. Like, then I went through like hypervigilance. So I talk to like the person, but I'm looking at the person's face expressions. And they could be like just wiggle their nose or like look around, and I would just like look for that, and then that would confirm like, oh my gosh, I'm making them uncomfortable, and then I'd stop talking to them. So yeah, that was a lot. But I am, it's really hard just because I can't change my face. Obviously, I'm going to try to get fillers on my cheek one day, or cheek implants in Turkey, and a nose job. But like for now, it's just like I can't change my face. I can smile, but I'm still going to have a bad RBF. And so, yeah. But I know what I want in my future. I want to live in a nice area like Channelside or Hyde Park, an apartment, a little apartment. I don't care if it's this size. I just want a balcony, a door and a balcony, so I can listen to traffic, sit out there, you know. I want to be a homebody. Right now I'm a homebody, but it's not good for me because there's no windows. So I'm like isolated. But that's what I want, and I want to work from home or work for myself with maybe my apps or something, and just literally live there, work, and just be present and doing cool stuff in my like apartment. That's what I want to do for like a couple years and just heal. I don't want to work a second job, but I understand why I can't, why I keep looking for work from home jobs, stuff like that. If I had a work from home job, I would never leave my house. I would have agoraphobia, 100%, because I hate going to work. The only reason why this job works is because it's a call center, so it's like you're sitting, you've got your divider, so that's the only reason why this job works. Um, but yeah, I gotta start working 60 hours a week. Everyone there hates me, and I don't talk to anyone. I look down. I think it's because I'm snobby, and also like the way I talk, you know, I'm proper. I sound like a white girl and all that stuff. And, you know, that puts an even bigger gap between white and black people. I mean, black and, oh my gosh. Did I just try to say I'm white? Oh. But it makes an even bigger gap between black people. And then it's like, I don't know how to relate to black people. I don't even know how to talk. I don't have friends. Like, I distance everyone if I'm like, don't know how to do, like, if I'm going through shutdown, I don't know how to like have relationships. I go into fight or flight mode, like panicking about casual relationships. Like, there's people at the job, they're nice to me, they're like, hey, and like I'll go in fight or flight because I'm like, okay, I said hey back. What does this mean about the future? How do I have a casual relationship, like a work relationship? I don't even know how to have a relationship. I don't have friends. I don't have family. Like, I'm like so like mentally just, it's just so crazy. It is so crazy how I'm like still surviving today. Well, I mean, it's not crazy how I'm surviving, but it's so crazy how I've never had been in trouble with like the law. I've never been violent. Like, you know, people like me that are like were raised and shut down, and a lot of their like emotions aren't developed. Like, it's such a security risk to have them, just because up until like a year ago, I didn't feel remorse. I didn't feel guilt. Like, I didn't feel anything. Because not because I'm like a psychopath or whatever, because I was in shutdown my whole life. So I guess I had the emotions, but they didn't register to me, and I didn't like outwardly feel anything. So it's like I could have gotten so much trouble, and it's like so many people like me like are the ones that are committing all these like crimes because we have no feelings. And it's like the only way, like, I'm starting to have feelings. Like, I don't have remorse yet. I don't have guilt either. That concept is a little weird to me. But I do feel sad about, like, when I see vulnerable people, I feel sad about, like, about their life, and, like, thinking about if they have help, if they have people around them. Like, are they being taken advantage of? Like, that stuff makes me sad. Um, like when I see like outcasts, like outlier people that now that I've like going through mental health struggles, like I feel sad about those type of people. Like, there's a guy I sit beside, and he looks like he like struggled like a lot growing up. Um, and like he makes me like sad just because, even though I don't know his lifestyle, but like I can put him in my shoes or myself in his shoes with like the stuff we're going through, and like, well, I can't really put myself in his shoes, or vice versa, but I can like match pain, and I'm like, okay, that makes me sad. But like sadness, I felt my first no, I didn't feel hopelessness. I felt resignation the other day, and I started crying. But I did feel sadness. I felt hopelessness. I felt emptiness. I felt sadness, hopelessness, emptiness. What were the big ones? I felt depression for the first time, like actual, like what it was, like the core emotion. I felt it. So depression, sadness, hopelessness, resignation, like I'm just giving up. I have no fight in me. Emptiness, anxiousness. I don't know if that's a feeling. I mean, it is a feeling, but if they categorize that as, or it's just like a mental health. But I felt anxiousness. I felt like void of emotion, like just nothing, which is a different feeling of like just like not being able to process emotion. I felt that. I felt vulnerable. Oof, yeah. I feel shame really bad. Like even if in my head I'm thinking of me having a conversation with someone, I think just by me standing there, I don't have the right to talk to them. And this is going to be awkward, and I'm going to like, they're not going to like me, and like just sort of like, why do I even try? And I'll just like not go in my head. I feel shame. I feel grief now. I do feel grief a lot now, just because I'm like I'm understanding how I became this person, what I was missing growing up, and like what I could have been. You know, I never knew that. And so I cry a lot from grief and shame. Those are like the biggest things I cry about, grief and shame. Today I cried. I don't know. Yeah, so also when I was doing my trip, like I realized that I'm such a control freak about my healing, because it's the only thing I can control. So it's like when you live in a world that you can't control, if there's that one thing you can grab hold of, like you're going to have an iron grip and you're not going to let go. And that's how I am with my mental health. Like every time I feel emotions, I have to process it. I have to analyze it. I have to know what it is. And then like I have to relive the pain and connect it. And then like I feel good to like release it. But it's like now I'm just gonna not do that. Yesterday I was crying. I've never felt resignation before. So I was like trying to describe it to ChatGPT. I'm like, it's a sadness, but it's not a sadness. It's like a tiredness, but it's like, picture you laying in bed for 3 days and not moving. You just don't care. Like you don't have a will. And then I was like naming all this stuff. It's like hopelessness, despair. And I'm like, okay, describe these. And then I was like, no, it's not that. And then they're like resignation. And I'm like, describe it. And I'm like, okay, that fits. So it's going to be resignation. And I labeled it, and but it's like when I was thinking about it, it was like stressing me out. Like I was so pissed because I couldn't like register what I was feeling. And like obviously it's because I'm new to having these feelings. Like June something was like the first time or actually no, May was like the first time when I started. No, June. I was crying about these things, but June is once I was like, I felt hopelessness for the first time. I felt, despair. I mean, resignation. I felt depression, sadness for the first time. Like I felt him for the first time, and that started in June. And then like I think May or April is when I first started feeling anxiety for the first time, and like I started opening up. So it's like I'm not like fully in present, but I'm like teetering the line of presence. But yeah, so now I'm just gonna I'm not gonna try to analyze it, which I don't know. I love documenting everything and putting it on here and then looking back. I journal about everything, but it's like for me, I wanna know how bad my mental health was, and like understand like how like much in the depths I was. And so that's why I document everything and I like analyze everything. But it's like you don't need to analyze it to heal. Just move on. And it was really hard today because I cried. I love watching Instagram and listening to the music because the music, sad music, penetrates me in a different way. Like, I don't have to like bring up that emotion. I'll just hear the sad like melody and I'll like it just penetrates and I just start crying for some reason. Like some part of my body's responding to it. And I love doing that. But it's like I'll cry, but I'll analyze it. And usually I can figure out why I'm crying and where I'm crying from because I'm fragmented. So I've got not like split personality, but I've got 10, 12 different systems in my body that have different minds and, you know, different pain. And, you know, everyone lives on pain and trauma and grief. No one's healthy. No one's doing good. But yeah, so it's like it hit one of them and usually I can like feel it and like it'll take me a little bit, but I'll be able to register what I'm feeling. But it's like today I just was crying and I was just like, and it was different cry because when it's like pent up, like when I'm like releasing trauma, I cry from my gut, but I was crying from my chest. So it's not like, oh, trauma, but it's probably something that was lingering or that's something I've already like released, but it was still like residue in there. But yeah, so I was crying today and I was just like, let myself cry. I was trying to analyze, but I'm like, I'm not gonna analyze it, just cry and get over it. So I did that. I really want to change my face. I really want to like get fillers or something so I can like look happy and not even just because I want like to be approached and I just don't want to look like a serial killer, you know. Someone said my last coworker said I look like I stab people. And then also, oh my gosh, my emotions, like they're coming out and it's like I don't know how to oh my gosh. It's just like I don't know how to like they call it, what is it, I forget what the phase is called, but it's like everything, like, you know, you're starting healing and you have froze emotions, froze like pain everywhere through your body. You're not healing in layers, you know, you're healing wherever. So it's like you're healing and then those emotions that were like stuck in that part that unfroze, they just come out. And it's like all these emotions are hitting me and it's like causing me to be suicidal. And because I lived my whole life without emotions. Like, I'm 27. 25 is when I started, like, journaling and, like, doing some breath work. But I really wasn't. It was after 25 I had my psychosis episode. And I started journaling and doing some breath work. But it wasn't, like, I was still completely shut down. But, like, the journaling was helping, like, barely. Like, it really wasn't, actually. In the breath work, I was doing it, but I didn't understand, like, what I'm doing, and, like, it didn't make sense. And then 26 is when I started, like, really journaling more. I started doing these tapes, and then, you know, I did, like, shadow work, and I would, like, it was so easy because I would do my whole day. I was so numb, so I would, like, be, you know, talking to people, happy, like, hey, what's up? And then I would go home, I'd do my shadow work, I would cry. I don't know what I was crying for. Or, you know, I'd cry for a specific, like, issue. Like, I'd remember something specific, and I would cry about it. I would journal, and I'd feel better. And that was it. And I did that for, like, a while. And it wasn't like I didn't feel the feelings, but I remember, like, the situation. And I'm like, that wasn't fair, and I'd cry. Or I'm like cried because I'm like, I don't have, like, I'm not loved. I wasn't loved, you know? And then this year, that was 26, 27. Well, June, May. Wait. No. So 24, I started journaling. 25, I started, you know, doing the videos and crying a little, but it was all controlled. 26 is when I went overboard and started doing the 10-minute. I learned about the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. My default is sympathetic, but I was trying to switch it to parasympathetic. So my breathing takes 3 seconds in and out, but I switched my breathing to 10 seconds in and out. And I thought that was just going to help me healing. But it's like when you're in the parasympathetic, like your walls, like your layers, they're like coming off, you know? And it's like, so I was going in the parasympathetic and I completely changed my breathing for 2 to 3 months. I was breathing for 10 seconds in and out. And Like, I did it too fast. My body thought I was like at the place that I wasn't at. So my body just like just unfroze all the motions and just started sending them in like one by one. But it was still, I would still like be able to cry. You know, I'd cry almost every day, which I love crying all the way. By the way, I never cried my whole life, and now I cry and I feel cleaned out. It's like pooping. But I would cry, but it would be like controlled. So I could be able to just like go to work, come back, and then that day I would have a full breakdown. And it was like, and it wasn't crying, it was like crying from the gut and like, like not breathing and like just random things. Like one time I got from work and I was like, I don't know why, I'm just like, I'm safe, I am safe, I'm safe. I kept saying that and then I started crying from my gut from like 10 minutes. I was like, what the heck? And I went to bed like afterwards. But it was like just random stuff like that. I would just cry, cry, cry. And then I have tenositis. And, or actually towards the very end of it, my systems like completely were like thawing like too much too fast, and that's when I started anxiety, and that's when I realized how people perceive me, you know. So like when you heal, you always want to have like someone there to guide you, and I was like looking at like YouTube videos and not realizing they probably have a therapist on speed dial. You know, I'm just like, you know, if you get a therapist, they're going to tell you to just, you know, really like slow down. Also, I was doing this breathing, which is it really like brings up emotions when you do that, because you're activating both sides of your breathing, which I'm going to do that today so I can cry tomorrow. And then so every morning I wake up, I would do this one. Then I would do the 444. Then I would do the hyperventilation, the Wim Hof breathing, the technique. Then I'd hold my breath for like 2.5 minutes, and then I would do one other one. I do box breathing. I do Wim Hof. I would do this one, and then it's gonna make me mad. First I was thinking, so I did box breathing, I did Wim Hof, I did this one, I did one, box breathing, Wim Hof. That's gonna make me mad. But I did another one. I did that every morning on top of doing like my 10 bracket, 10 and on top of doing like the that's gonna make me mad. Oh, then I would do the 2 breaths in, like to dispel stress, and then I would throughout the day hold my breath, breathe in 10 out, 10 in the whole day. I controlled my breathing, and that was like when I was just like that. So I'm like numb my whole life, then I'm like slowly thawing, and then I started doing that, and then that just like broke down all the barriers, and like just like a wave just came crashing in. And then after like a month of doing that, I started anxiety. I started like not coming to work. I'd have panic attacks from like random. I didn't even understand what panic attack was. I'd go to work, like I'd be driving there and be scared. I'll like literally scared. I'd be crying. I'd turn around. And then I'd be scared to go to tables. I had like anxiety attacks. I had hives. I would talk to people. That's when I started like looking at them looking at me. Like I had started having it when I did that. And then a couple months later, you know, after I'm starting to like get like understand, and like I'm starting to get used to like the emotions didn't stop coming, they kept coming, but I got used to like a load of emotions. Then in June of this month, I I have tinnitus ringing in my ears. And I don't know why one day I was reading about theta waves, and I saw it on YouTube, and I was like listening to silence. So I just laid there in the dark and I was just listening to the ring in my ear. And usually people, it startles them. For me, it was like a very calming effect, like an amniotic fluid, like amniotic like sac, and you're in it and you hear the noise like from like a second. I don't know. From there, I don't know, but from in, like, it was very, very calming. So I just like was laying there just listening to like my noise, like the noise in my ears, and it was like it was tethering me to inside. And I would like ask myself questions like, why do I do this? And just like that, something would come up like a memory, and I'm like, and I'd understand. I'm like, oh, this is like really helpful. Not knowing what I was doing, I should have had a therapist or something letting me know that was like that was like me practicing presence. And so now my body, I'm getting used to like the freeze, the melting, because the melting got really fast. And then like now I'm putting my body into presence and these like little dips. And then that's when like the rest of the emotions, like in those little dips, they would just like shoot in, and they would stay in my body. And then like I would have to like I'd cry them out. Just like breakdowns every day, not being able to look at people in the eye. Like I just like started deteriorating the more like I was like opening up. And now I'm like used to it now. I cry. I love crying, but I cry all the time. I've cried more in the last month. And this month's not even over yet. I've cried more in the last month than I've done from once I went to the homes. From 6 to 18, 19, I've cried more in the last month, and all these months just separately. I cry all the time. But it's just crazy because I'll cry and I'm like how much more do I have to process? Like I'm crying all the time. Like I know I was built wrong. Like my body was created in trauma and chaos and dissociation. You know, my mom was at the very end of her, like before she went mental, like she was at her shutdown. So she was like dissociation. She would stare at the wall and just like daydream all day. She would like start hearing stuff, get out of my head, like that. Her emotions like at her shutdown were my baseline. I just, because when you're younger, when you're 7, like you're set. And so I watched her. And like even sometimes I remember like random stuff, I'd look at her and be like, why is she like that with people? Like she's like so like set, like she puts a distance between her and people. She didn't trust anyone. Like I'm like, why is she like that? And now I'm like that because that one time I saw that her doing that, I started doing that. And it's like her like shutdown became my baseline, and which is not good. And then after that, I go to children's home, it's chaotic. You have 36 girls. You don't have a caretaker, so I'm raising myself. Everyone there is like very rude. I remember they used to like make fun of my hair, call me devil child, and like make me cry. And I'd tell my house parents, and they're like, you gotta suck it up. And I would get swats for whining. I'm a 6-year-old girl, and like I was the youngest girl at that time, and I get swats for whining. And I remember after like a year, I became like, I just toughened it out. I became so tough. And I remember after a year, I remember making myself tough, but I remember after a year, I was a tough girl. I was always hanging out with the older kids. I was the bad girl like the older kids. Like when we were younger, that was like such a good thing. Like the cool people were like the bad people. And then like, I just, from like 6 to 12, I was like that. And then like I went into shutdown. And so after 12, I'm not maturing, I'm not growing, I'm not nothing. And all those kids are leaving, the tensional kids. And now they're bringing in these really good kids, church home kids, that mostly have school issues, not like behavioral issues. So now I stick out like a sore thumb around them. I'm the bad kid. All these new house parents are telling the kids not to hang out with me. I'm a bad example. No one can discipline me. No one can do nothing because nothing sticks. Because I'm in shutdown. Like, it's not going to. But my phone's about to die, and I'm just rambling because I'm bored. But I can't go outside because I'll go through another panic attack. But I'm really, when I take the ketamine, like just like that, yesterday I was so depressed. Like I went down to my base levels. And then today, after taking it, like literally filled in all my gaps and I feel really good. I feel hopeful for the future. Obviously this is going to wear off in 4 days, 3 days, and I'll get depressed for the other 4 days and not talk to anyone. But I know what I want in the future, and I know that obviously I'm not going to say something good's coming and I'm going to be someone special, because my body doesn't know how to process hope like that. It'll take it and it'll be like, it will take it as like word, and I'll be like, I'm going to be this one, but I know, and I'm saying this from, I can't really think too much on it because then I'll, my body will take it as law, but I know that someone like me, who's grew up like me, still a virgin, which I know people don't like when I say that, but who's like set apart, who doesn't party, who doesn't drink, who has all these problems, but I'm trying to change it. I don't like who I am. I don't like my personality. I'm going through all this mental health healing that most people never do, and I'm just like, there's got to be something out there for me, because am I really going to do all this and heal and save myself and all this stuff to be what an average Joe mama six? Like, I don't know, I just feel like there's got to be something more out for me. But obviously I'm not literally thinking about guys. Oh my gosh, I ever talk about it, but my phone's about to die. I'm not thinking about guys until I if I swipe, I'm not thinking about guys until I am at least 30. Like, I don't want a guy. I don't, because I associate guys with like responsibility. I don't want kids. My sister wants kids. My brother wants kids. Me, I'm like, I want to live my 30s. It's crazy because when she was my age at 27, she was like crying. Well, she's still crying, but she started crying about it. And like, I want kids. My greatest desire is to be a mother. For me, I'm like, I just turned 27. I'm like, I don't want kids until I'm maybe 35. And I don't want a man. I don't want responsibility. Like, I just want to be a happy single woman for, once I figure it out, for a couple years and just live in peace. But yeah, so what I was saying, my emotions are all over the place because there's this guy that I work with, and I think I have limerence. So I've been in limerence before with 2 other people. And with this guy, I was starting to get in limerence. I was starting to get obsessed with him. And he doesn't even, like, I sit there, like, all day. I literally don't talk to anyone. They think I'm such a snob. Like, I think I'm better than them, But it's like, I literally started falling in limerence with him. I was literally starting to, like, be obsessed with him. And I literally just, yeah. But I'm like, the reason why I do that is because I will see a guy that reminds me of someone that like has good characteristics in the future, and then I'll put those characteristics on the new guy. Like, maybe they have like the same resemblance or they have the same body type, And so I started putting all these good qualities on him in my mind, and I'm starting like fall in love with this dude that I've never talked to. I mean, I've talked to, but it's like I keep to myself. But then I saw his Instagram. And I was like, oh my gosh, no. And then, like, that literally broke it. But I still had residue, like, of me, like wanting his attention, wanting to see him in, like, my short shirts and look how nice my body is. Like, I still want his attention because I still have residue. A couple days ago, I saw him there. So there's a couple girls there. Not many, but there's 2 girls there who are, like, pretty, like really pretty, really like everyone loves them, good personality. And like in my head, the only thing that I am like jealous of or like gets my attention is prettiness. So if someone's super smart, has good characters, but they're not pretty, I'm just like, okay, well they're they at their face value. But if someone's really pretty and is smart with characteristics, then they're like, to me it's like like I'll compare myself to them, like I want to be that person. But he was talking to that girl, and they work together. They've been working together for years. And I literally got in my seat, I pushed up closer to the desk, and I started crying. And I felt, what did I feel? What do I name that as? See, I'm doing again, analyzing what I felt. But it's crazy because I can remember the memory, but also I can remember like how I felt, and I can like re-feel the feeling in my body right now. It's really, it's crazy. But let me see. I felt jealous, not really jealous, but I felt like rejection. And like, how am I gonna, oh my gosh, this is it. I felt rejection, but then I felt like, how am I gonna compete with her? Like, you know, if you have a boyfriend and he's got a coworker that's super hot and is everything you're not, and you're like, how do I compete? Like, that's what I felt. And I was crying, legit crying at my desk from someone I didn't know. And I'm just like, my emotions are going crazy. And it's like, I really am a psychopath. And if I wasn't in shutdown my whole life, I would definitely be in jail for like murder. And like, if I wasn't in a relation, and like, that's why I feel like it's good that I've never been in a relationship, because I feel like if one relationship, I would kill, like, I feel like I could go as far as murdering someone and then going to jail, because my emotions get like that high. And then it's like, you put sex in there and like stuff that I've never had before, like that would like mess me up for life for sure. And then I'm like, also, if I had like a really good guy that like was everything I needed, who was Chris, I would become obsessed and he'd become like my God, like my savior. And so I'm just like, okay, so I see why God's not giving me a guy. One, I'm not ready, but those are two really good reasons. But I do feel like he sets, like, I do feel set apart. I do feel it, which is crazy because I'm not really religious, but because I grew up moral and it being like stamped in my mind, I have a lot of like the undertone. I hate when I talk like this, but I had a lot of that undertone. And what was I saying? But yeah, I do feel set apart. Like, if I get with a guy, if I work at a place and there's a cute guy, like, I already know that something's gonna happen. I'm gonna get moved to the other team. Like, I'm gonna get like, because I feel like I feel set apart. Like, I feel like any guy that comes in my way that I start to like, I feel that like God is taking that guy and just like moving him out of my way. Like, nope. Because the guy that I was gonna obsess with, he was my team leader. And I started like getting obsessed, and like for random reason, like our team got moved to another team. And like, I'm just like, literally every little thing, like every time I like start thinking like, oh my gosh, maybe I just want to like lose my virginity and just do it just to feel what it's like. But like, even every time I do that, I know like that person's getting moved out of my life. And it's like, I know that I'm set apart, but it's just like, for what? And it better be a cute guy. He better be Chris. I'm so obsessed with Chris to this day because he changed what I want in a guy. Like, I literally fell in love. Like, he was like making me, and he was my boss. I do like find like that power dynamic like really attractive. But he like was making me have mental issues. Like, I already had mental issues. I just came off of psychosis, and but he was like my first time being in limerence. He changed what I want in a guy and all the characteristics I want in a guy. I still to this day, I won't even be thinking about him. I'll write what I want in the guy, and my characteristics will match his. My looks, what I like, will match his, like what he was. And it's just like, oh my gosh, he's that impressionable. He was like, just his presence. He was such a good, like, compassionate, honorable man. And just his presence was making me start to have like mental issues. Like, he was like mirroring me. So like, he would be at his desk doing his paperwork, and I would be at this table waiting the table, and like, I would start getting self-conscious. I'd be scared. I'm like, is he listening? Like, and he'd be minding his own business, but I couldn't wait tables in front of him. Like, I couldn't function in front of him. Like, and then like, I could see myself with someone like him so badly, and like I wanted for myself, like even like my fragmentations, like different parts of my body, like all in unison, just wanted, like that's like when you like want what's best from someone, you're like, that is what that girl needs, and I'm happy for that girl, and I want that for that girl. That's what I wanted for me, like as a third party, like if I'm like going back and I'm just seeing this person with that guy, and that's how I was picturing myself. And I'm just like, I want that for me so bad. I could literally, I would do anything. Like, I wanted him so bad. And he wasn't, and no one really thought he was cute. I mean, I thought he was beautiful. But to this day, like, I want a Puerto Rican with black hair, like chunkier. He had nice teeth. Well, that's because he had braces. He just got braces like a year before. But he had big black eyes, and like I loved his eyes because I would be talking to him and he would be looking into my soul, like processing what I'm saying and then saying something back intelligent. And like I have big eyes. I mean, I look into your souls when I talk, but it's like kind of like a disinterested look. But he was like interested, like he was so intelligent, he was so smart. And it's like he's such a rarity. Like he's like an old soul, and he's so compassionate. And it's like I wanted that so bad for me. Like I wanted it so bad I'd cry. And it's so sad that I've never like he had kids and a wife, and I've never even like I've never been in a relationship, but I've never even like been that type or even thought about like with kids and a wife. If they say that, I'm like, okay, moving on. But for him, it's like I wanted him so bad. But yeah. My phone's about to die, but let's see, whatever.